الله أكبر الله أكبر.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be with you. The story of Yunus, Jonah, peace be upon him, it's interesting on many aspects because what we get out of this story are many psychological and spiritual features that we understand, that we can extract from his own personality and at the same time from the story itself. What we know is that he was sent to his own community in Nineveh. And what he had to do is just to remind them of the unity of God, the oneness of God, the Tawheed, and that they have to come back to God. What he got from his community is rejection, people insulting him and rejecting him. So at the beginning, he had a sense of helplessness. How am I going to do this? And as he was trying and trying, he ended up being impatient that it's not going to work. They're not ready to listen to me. And then out of this impatience, out of this rejection, what he felt is anger, that he was not happy. And then he wanted to leave this community and to go into exile, a very far exile, and to let them with their rejection and then their disbelief and rejection of one God. And this is what he did, and what we find in the Quran, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, is exactly this, what we find in the Quran. وَذَنُّونَ إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا, and Jonah, when he stormed out in fury. So he was so angry that he left his community and go to exile. That's the first step, and what is important here is that we need to understand this, that he was sent because God wanted him to spread the message. And he thought, it's for me to do it. I am the very instrument of this spreading the message. And when he saw that his community was rejecting, he decided to leave and say, okay, your destiny is just to be lost, and I'm going to save myself from this. And he went to the boat. And what is interesting, and this is why his name is the Noon, the man of the big fish. And this is also that we should understand that he went to the boat, and when he was in the boat, you know, a catastrophe was coming, a storm was around. So the people on the boat decided, okay, we have to save ourselves. And out of the whole process, they decided someone among us should be thrown away, because it's this or we are going to collapse altogether. And 3 times he was chosen by, as if it was by accident or by chance. But he understood that it was not. It was for him to accomplish his destiny. So he left his community thinking, I'm free with God, and they are imprisoned in their rejection of God. So he went on the boat, and then he ended up in the belly of the fish. And when he was in the belly of the fish, he just realized that the whole process, the whole story, it's about him. So you forgot God's will. You thought out of helplessness, your own helplessness, not God's helplessness, because God is never helpless. That's the point, that the power of God is beyond your own limitation. So when he was in the belly, he came back to God. And this is what we find in the Quran in the same verse. وَذَنُّونَ إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا فَظَنَّ أَنْ لَنْ يَقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ إِنَّ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنْ سُبْحَانَكَ إِنِّي كُنْتُ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. And Jonah, when he stormed out in fury, thinking we had no power over him, but then he cried out in the darkness, there is no God but you, glory to you. I was one of the wrongdoers. I was one of the unjust people, forgetting that you have the power, I don't. So what happened is that in the belly of the fish, he was crying out and he was asking, he was praying, he came back to God. So out of helplessness before his own people, now he's helpless within the belly of the fish. And then he came back to God asking him to be saved. And what we find in the Quran is God answered, فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ وَنَجَّيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْغَمِّ وَكَذَلِكَ نُنَجِّي الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. So we answered him and saved him from the affliction, thus we saved the faithful. So he was saved and he came back, where? To his own community. He came back to his own community understanding, yes, you may be the instrument with your mission, but this mission is not only relying on you. You are not the only one, and even it could be achieved without you. You are an instrument, and you have to avoid being arrogant and thinking that you can do it and you are going to do it on your own. It's not going. The power is with God, and you are just an instrument. So when he came back to his people, what did he find? He found them believing in God, because when he left and that they saw the storm coming, and when they saw what could happen, the natural catastrophe perceived as such, they came back to God and God forgave them. And they came back to him. So they came back to God without him, and they were freed without him. He came back to them in prison in the fish's belly. And this is where he found his own destiny. And he understood, if you want to be free, if you want to do and to achieve your mission, there is one condition. Remember that it's out of his power that you will find your power, that it's out of his will that you will achieve your mission. No other way. And this is also for us to understand it today. So impatience, anger, helplessness is something that we can find. It's a natural psychological reaction to what the people are doing. But at the end, what you have to do is to come back to yourself, to come back to him, to rely on him, and know that it might not happen today, but it could happen tomorrow. It's his will, and your mission is just to try to achieve it to the best of your knowledge and to the best of your capacity. Don't forget to tell the people you love that you love them. Life is fragile.
الله أكبر.